Devil horn salute. Okay, I'm giving this a second. My microphone on this phone's giving me some issues. So test. 1, 2, 3. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Okay, testing. I've been doing a bunch of these videos about my experiences in the Army, and I built a base and a format to where I can comment on other things. Man, I'm just sitting here this morning trying to wake up. A little micro blunt here. And it dawned on me that Veterans Day's coming up, and we should remember some people in our past. And I can bring up some characters. I can bring up some characters from long ago that probably don't even exist now. Well, we started with my grandparents. My grandma wore combat boots. She was a nurse. She was over in North Africa, and she was in Italy and actually got some kind of a campaign ribbon. And then I didn't know this till I found my grandfather on Find a Grave. He actually was a lieutenant in the Apennines, and he won a Silver Star. And from what I heard, he was some kind of a medic or something. My grandparents had met in Italy, got married in Rome, and out popped my mom, and here I am today giving up these stories. My Uncle Ray, he fought through France. They said he was fighting with Patton or whatever that was. And I remember, when you went to your grandparents' house back in the day, you could see these pictures. I mean, she had that army brown uniform on. I never saw anything of my grandfather. Had a picture of my Uncle Ray in France. No, these people never, ever, ever said anything about the war. They never shared a story. They never talked about it. I met one old man here in Clinton, Leroy. He would say he carried a BAR through France. He showed me some shit that he had. He kept a scrapbook. He fought the 17th SS and survived. But no, he carried a BAR, walked it all through the southern France into Germany. And he had a few, he would tell some stories, but he wouldn't give up any gore or anything like that. Anybody that's ever fought in a war never really give up any kind of a gore thing. Decapitated heads, crispy napalm bodies and shit like that. They don't sit there and brag about nothing. It's very rare if you can get these people to open up. So that's, that's World War II. Okay, that's World War II. There are some Vietnam characters that were in. Now, when I was growing up in the 70s, there were some people coming back from overseas. There were some people getting out of the Army. The rumor, one guy at the apartment, yeah, he's back from Nam, and he had a big old duffel bag full of neat shit. And there's one guy I remember, he went into the Marine Corps. He didn't last very long, kind of came back, and he was a fucking mess. He was living with this woman, the kid ended up with this hat. So anyway, as I'm growing up, meeting people in life, how about Fred? Now, I had a friend, David, and his stepdad was Fred, and he was a Marine. He did guard duty at Da Nang, and he liked to sit there and polish rifles and shit. Let me check my time and make sure everything's not goofy. He liked to sit downstairs and polish rifles a lot. He was a nutcase, and all he ever said was he did guard duty in Da Nang. And he ended up getting divorced. Imagine that. It's just the way it was. That was Jenny's first time. Then Jenny did some dating ad thing and met a guy named D.W. who was a postal carrier. He was in Vietnam. It was a horse. It was like black stallions or something. I'm not sure. It's a black stallion-like horse on a patch. And he showed me a few pictures. He was a combat medic. He did not talk about it. I saw one picture where he had that little rice patty daddy hat on, and he had an AK-47. He was so skinny, and by the time I met him, he's a chunky fucking mailman. He had his Vietnam body going. So I got to see a couple pictures where he was at, and just a little AK picture with the hat on. I only saw this man break down one time. My mom just got shot, so I was living with these people temporary. I was having issues, and it might have triggered him, and I just seen him lose it one time. It was really hard, I'll tell you what, after my mom got shot, watching any kind of movie. Like, there was this thing, it was, oh, shit, man, there was a TV show on, I can't think of it. Some Vietnam TV show on back in the 80s, and tour duty, something like that. And it was after Ramon got shot, I couldn't watch it. My bro Danny Death, if you're watching it, you know exactly what show I'm talking about. That movie Platoon I could not watch anything like that for the longest time. And when my friends told me about Full Metal Jacket, nobody warned me about Private Pilot going to blow his head off in that latrine. It just shocked the fuck out of me. It was too soon after my mom died when I saw that. So Fred went away. DW came in. And again, these people saw some shit, but they didn't say nothing. Now, let's go down to the Culberson house. Old man Culberson, he fought the Japs in World War II, and this motherfucker hated the Japs. Oh, Jesus Christ. What do they call that today? Racist. Well, Jap hating back then was all right. Trust me, it was all right. And you never bought a Jap car. Oh, yeah, because of these guys who fought the Japs. Remember Pearl Harbor? Yeah, all you left-wing crybaby snowflakes, Pearl Harbor. So these people hated the Japs. They had to go and kill these motherfuckers and in the process lose a few friends. So yeah, old man Culberson was out there fighting on the boats in World War II. And God, he hated it, but he never said nothing. He just had a deep-seated hatred for the Japs. And then there was Mike. Anybody out there know a Marine sniper from Vietnam? I do. Mike Culberson. I think he got his training at Hill 55. The only story he ever told was he said he was asleep up in a tree. He looked down and there's a couple VC, derogatory terms, whatever. And he had to sit there for a while, not move, sweat it out, wait for them to go to sleep. He popped them off. And that's the only thing he ever said. He brought back this SKS. Now, he had to take the firing pin out of the SKS, but it had the bayonet. I mean, this was real goddamn SKS, man. This was neat. When I was a kid, we got to play with this thing. And one Halloween, I think I was 16, I was all geared up like Rambo. And I was going through Raytown, Missouri with an SKS with a bayonet. You could not pull this off today. Back then, nobody thought nothing of, you know what, back in my day when I was growing up, you could walk down the middle of your neighborhood with a air rifle, BB gun, pellet gun, whatever, going out, and no one think twice about it. Jesus fuck me God, if you walk down the street today, they're calling the cops on you, you're going to jail, and you're some kind of fucking terrorist. But back then, it was a different world. So yeah, that was neat, that SKS. And back then in 1980, I remember seeing on a wall this junk piece of shit, M16, that's what they were, junk piece of shit. And you can get one back then for $350, the Vietnam rifle, man. Then there was Pat. And I used to sit there as a teenager, and he had his Marine Corps boot camp book, so I used to look through that. And he served over there, and the only story he ever said was his first month or so there, he was in a foxhole, and the Arvin guy ran out, and he didn't know at the time. He could have wasted this guy. So he missed a chance to fucking kill a derogatory term Arvin guy, VC, whatever, derogatory terms. And that's all he really said. No, I think he showed up around Tet, a little after Tet, in that time frame. I know when I was working in a cemetery up there in Raytown off of Gregory and Blue Ridge Boulevard, you'd see like 101st Airborne, May 69, and, you know, Hamburger Hill guys. Yeah, a lot of 101st Airborne up there. And you start looking at the dates, you know, May 69. I'm like, oh shit, you got caught up in that. So who else is there? So, you know, I don't really know too many people today. Now, I guess I'll close off. We do have a Vietnam vet down the street. This guy's 76, 77 now. He's all by himself. I don't know if he's even got help, okay? I met this guy when I was doing some missionary work, banging on doors, passing out literature and books. And we talked a little bit. But no, he was in the Navy in Nam. And he's sitting there by himself. I think he's had a stroke. And he's got his American flag out and all that. And only thing he had ever told me about his service, he got caught up in like a typhoon or something, some kind of storm. Now, one amazing vet I did meet, old man Abe. This guy was on the USS Indianapolis. I met him at this home church, Adventist home church. Yeah, this just tripped up. Yeah, this old man Abe, he was on, anybody, you know, USS Indianapolis, this delivered the fucking bomb, okay? He was in the Marianas turkey shoot, and he had to leave or something. He did enough time to where he got off to Indianapolis. Right after they delivered the bomb, he got off the boat on a leave or something. The boat sailed off and was torpedoed by the Japanese sub, and the sailors went in the ocean and got eaten by sharks. And all these years later, there was Abe that I met at this home church, and it's like he really didn't give up stories. He was proud to have been on the boat, and he said, "Yeah, I got lucky. I got lucky. I had enough time in to where I could get off the boat, take a little leave, while it went out, and everybody else got eaten by sharks." Let me trip my memory anymore. Any more cool people I'd met? Did see one thing. I had a friend in grade school. He had some World War I gear that he got from his grandparents. There was a French helmet. I actually got to hold a World War I French helmet. The doughboy helmet was all rusty and shit. And then there was a gas mask, the complete fucking thing. You couldn't wear it no more, but had the case. It had the little face thing with the little tube and that. And it was kind of, old and that, but it was all still there. And that was some real World War I shit that I got to handle. Anything else? Yeah, my dad, he'd take us to a place called the King's Crown. It had all that World War II leftover shit. And back then in the early 70s and shit, it was still cheap. All the medals, helmets, whatever you can think of. I'm not going to say too much because some people, racist. Well, that racist shit was there, including some communist red stars. Oh, and some, army shit too, patches and a few uniforms and that. So I think I'm done. It's just, Veterans Day is coming up. Memorial, Veterans, the Veterans Day, the November 11th thing, Armistice Day. And I've got a dead guy up here in the cemetery, Philip W. Fulkerson. He was a captain in the Confederate Army, fought down there at Wilson's Creek. And I'm not in good health. We're trying hard to get me down to Springfield so I can walk one more time and carry his memory down there at Wilson's Creek. And other than that, horn salute, I guess I'm done rambling because that's all I'm doing, rambling. Yeah, Veterans Day's coming up. So remember your vets. Got some old stories, share them with some people because, World War II stories are vanishing because people are dying. Vietnam guys are dying. My generation who knew, these were my grandparents and our fathers, people we grew up in, all this was fresh, but now all of a sudden it's vanishing. Yeah, what was 40 years ago fresh is now it's old and vanishing. So hit the like and subscribe. If I can come up with more shit, I might. Who knows?